Yes. Yeah, back with the big bag. I don't know why I took this off. Yes, it's because I was, the entire week I've been at the Muthaiga Golf Club because of Kenya Open. It's been all about practicing your swing. Yes. But we take this off, and it's all about the football sleep.
Bro, you're on leave though.
But I'm back. I've been here the entire
week. Don't talk about Muthaiga. You're also on leave.
Before you went to Muthaiga. But I'm back.
Before talk about Muthaiga, you're also on leave, right?
Yeah. But I'm back.
How's mom? She's okay?
Everything's fine. Mom is fine. Everything is fine. How is Nyamira? Very fine.
You don't have to call him. Yes. I had to call him to confirm whether he's in Nyamira.
You see, there's something that confused me. Outside the football sleep, you cover politics. But you can't differentiate Nyamira County and Kisii County. Very confusing. Even Cedric was telling you, I am from Nyamira County.
Actually, he was whispering, but
Hassan had to call to confirm.
Yes.
Because I didn't know. Asiyejua na ajui.
And you guys are friends.
Exactly.
And colleagues, like really?
Okay, now you know where I come from.
Moto mrima. Shabash mpenzi mtazamaji, hujambo na karibu katika makala ya The Football Sleep. Tarehe ngapi? Ngoja, tarehe 21 mwezi wa wapendanao, mwezi wa Februari mwaka 2025. Hujambo na karibu. Mimi ni nahodha wako Hassan Juma. Makala si mengine bali The Football Sleep. Sisi peke yangu manake wiki jana nilikuwa na Makinda, lakini kabla kuwaonyesha nani ambao niko nao, au sio? Tuangalie mitandaoni, tuangazia nini? Tunaangazia mchuano wa Bukubwa. Punda afe lakini mzigo ufike. Angalia, mchuano wa Bukubwa utakuwa katika uga wa Etihad. Manchester City will be hosting Liverpool at the Etihad in a top draw Premier League match. Kazi rahisi tu, give us your predictions, au sio? Ndio hizi katika mitandao ya kijamii aswa, mtandao wa Twitter X bado kwa akili. Haya, mtandao wa X @Hassan Juma. Mwenzangu Robi ni @R_Okenye. Dennis Robi, why is Dennis Otachi's address here? Who is Dennis Otachi?
Dennis Otachi is our guy.
Who do you mean
behind the scene? Otachi is our director.
He's our director.
He's our director. Now Otachi ulitoa yangu kumbe.
Is in the, what do you mean director? He's in the board of director. What do you mean director?
Program director.
Is in the board of the Senate group, mama?
The big boys are back.
Come
aje Sedo.
The big bro.
Otachi
bro, but then the big boys are back. Wako umetelewa?
Metoa Dani karaoke hapa. Otachi, I'll deal with you.
Of course. Bro, karibu. Bado mrema?
Yes.
Nati leo.
Wanatia?
Tira na uru.
I have had anaitwa nani? No Kikemboy.
No Kikemboy.
Otu Komwega.
Otu Komwega.
Saying good night.
Yes. You know what he said in Kisii?
Yes.
How about Tuko Hobuya?
You know what? Ulala.
Have a good night.
Yes, but I'm doing well.
Happy to see you, man.
I am doing
Of course,
well.
we were with you last week.
Yes, I was
you did well
in Addis Ababa, yes.
Ulikunywa kahawa?
Kahawa yao very, very strong.
The former ambassador, friend of mine, alikuwa nipotea kahawa bwana.
It's very strong.
Tumeza kahawa tungu lakini hii yao
whisky na kahawa huko zinapelekana sana.
Sasa bro, kwa sababu ya dini.
Okay, sio
whisky kwao.
Unajua you see, your tongue is used to vitu kali. So unasikia ni kazi inapelekana.
The problem with Sedo is,
yes.
Sorry to say this, but the two guys, two gentlemen, sober, relaxed, easy, chilled guys.
Oh, we are not.
Bro, sitisha mazana intro yako. Ngoja sasa ni maze. Niko kwa Sedo bana. Wewe ni mko kitengo? Utaanza kwa onea, alafu utatublame. Sedo na Shtemi.
Yes, of course, in a bit we'll be telling you why Rogers Shtemi is not part of us tonight. Just be patient a bit. We'll be telling you why he has not joined us tonight, but that will be in just a bit. Sedo, you had a fantastic week?
Very.
So why were you not here last week, by the way?
So last week I had taken
Is it because Robbie was not here?
No, there were some matters that were really burning back at my motherland. So I needed to attend to them when I come back.
Very important. Very well. Of course, thank you for joining us tonight, Cedric Msumba. But I want us to begin football slip tonight by taking a look at what has happened this week. But before we do that, let's take a look at this week's slip. Yeah. Yes, this week's slip, very important. The teams that we have chosen, we have Tusker, they will be hosting Shabana. This will be on the 26th of February. KCB host Madare, of course, still in the Football Federation Premier League. But now in Bundesliga, Bayern Munich host Frankfurt, Leipzig take on Heidenheim. Inter Milan will be at home against Genoa. Empoli take on Atalanta. Real Sociedad, host Leganes. Valencia will be at home against Atletico Madrid, and then Aston Villa take on Chelsea. And the big one of the weekend, we'll see Manchester City at the Etihad taking on Liverpool. So that is our week slip. So can we recap the week very, very quickly? Let's take a look at how the week has been, and we begin with Gor Mahia. Now, Cedric Msumba, Mihich is a man under fire from Gor Mahia fans. They feel that since he took over, he has had more touchline celebrations than the goals that they've scored, which is they've scored 0 goals.
Yeah, it's true. Remember, it does not really mean that he took over a team that was really banging in many goals at the back, because it was a team that was struggling. And the essence of actually roping him in was to come and redefine that team and try to make it maybe a balance of the Gor Mahia we have associated ourselves with before. But then again, time can really tell. It's now telling a story of the Agori that has been playing in a league that is so ailing. Gor that is not so much competitive, and they need time. Actually, they need to give him some more time so that he can try and see if he can realign that team and bring it back to the Gor that we have associated with.
The fans are worried that next is Machemeji Derby in the league, and they're not scoring goals.
Which is true. Those are the defining moments. They need actually to go into that particular match and even lose it so that they can realize their stature.
You want them to lose.
No, the essence, you see, how football is defined, you first pick from that kind of the demises so that you can really see the true picture of the Gor Mahia. Remember, if they got deceive themselves by beating FC Leopard, and maybe they are granted maybe to represent Kenya at the continental level, and then they are roping in 6 goals like what we saw when they represented last. A strong team that can really represent our league up at the continental level. We need a team that can really define themselves and really try to tell us a story of Gor Mahia that we have seen really playing Confederation Cup up to the quarterfinals. But currently, as it is, it's a weaker team. We saw the kind of goals that Gor Mahia actually, the kinds of win that Gor Mahia is picking. Some extent went to an extent that they are picking goals from offside level. Some they are picking the goal that they are not defined for to be penalty. They're being given awarded penalty. They are not defined to be penalties. That's not the goal that we have seen. That's not the goal of Medi Kagere.
So where is the problem exactly?
The ailing problem, if you ask me, to my own opinion, Robinson. My own opinion, Gor Mahia is not suffering actually problem alone. It's the league that has made Gor Mahia to be like that. Our league is ailing. It's not that much competitive. It's not only affecting Gor Mahia, but teams are not at the level that we would want them to be.
So let's move away from Gor Mahia. Let's get into the Spanish La Liga. And Federico Valverde came out this week saying that, you know what, yes, there is a lot of discrepancies in refereeing in the Spanish La Liga. Cedric, I still bring this back to you because you have some allegiance to the Los Blancos. Do you feel like they are being treated unfairly in La Liga?
Sorry to say this. At the beginning, I thought that maybe they are like wailing a lot. And I thought that Real Madrid is being actually treated like a royal team. And at some point, I think that they were the big boys who are being seen in La Liga. Each and every time they need those kind of favor. But then again, going by step and seeing the kind of, let's say, penalties that have been facing, some of the penalties actually, they are so unrightful, actually, the likes of Valverde to start complaining. For instance, you go ahead and pick a straight red card to Jude Bellingham. If you go to my own opinion, that was a warning, which actually calls for a yellow card. And then the second yellow card, red card. But if you pick a straight red card, it means a referee or maybe the official center, who was actually predetermined. He was just looking for a slight mistake to really put that kind of understand. And if you dig deep into that particular kind of, and even you try to draw big into it, you find that this the center referee had some associate with the Real Madrid rivals. The Atletico Madrid has an academy that has actually been associated with the Atletico Madrid. And now it started bringing the different story that you can't really tell and maybe put together. You start now saying, Real Madrid at La Liga is not actually being treated fairly.
And Wamurima, Liverpool played against Aston Villa at Villa Park. The final score was 2-2, which means Arsenal is now 8 points behind Liverpool.
Right.
Yes. Should they be worried? Should the Reds be worried?
Definitely, they should be worried. I think that was the 7th draw of the season for Liverpool. They have only lost 1 game and won 18 games. When you start having some draw with Aston Villa, then next you are facing, I think, Man City, and then later on you will face Chelsea and the likes, Newcastle.
And Arsenal.
And Arsenal, definitely, the team that is in the race with Liverpool. Ancelotti should be worried because he has already, actually, he was looking forward to having a 10 points difference. But now he managed to lose points or rather he lost some points at Aston Villa. It definitely means that if City beats Liverpool this weekend, then definitely, and Arsenal wins versus West Ham, Arteta will be having a very good run to catch up with Liverpool.
But
and
Villa
also,
did a good transfer window. They had a good transfer window.
I agree, but at the same time, if you have been keen with Liverpool, Liverpool have not been having a very good game, I would say.
Exactly.
But they have been getting the points, which is very important.
Which is very all about winning, isn't it?
Precisely. They have been getting the wins. But now, look at it. They play Aston Villa away, they draw 2-2. Then they face Man City at Etihad. If they lose that game, then the momentum will start
going into that Man City.
Yes.
Cedric Musumba, Ademola Lookman played for Atalanta this week. They lost to Club Brugge 3-1, 5-2 on aggregate. And the coach, that is Gasperini, came out saying that he should not have taken a penalty. Came out with a statement saying that there's a lot that he's wanted to say, but he has to keep it under. But at the end of the day, it's all about football. What did you have to say about that?
It's quite unfortunate. A manager actually should be so much strained. At some point, a manager actually should be pulling some kind of wisdomy kind of language.
He should protect the players.
Because you ask me, this is a player that has taken the previous 4 penalties and has been scoring for this particular team. He's a player that carried this team to, I think, it's a confederation, a conference.
Conference league. No, Europa League.
Europa League.
And he's also the African Player of the Year.
And it actually, they were facing a team that had a very nice run along without losing. They are the team that actually broke the genes of Bayer Leverkusen.
Yes.
And at that particular time, he was celebrated to an extent that he ended up winning the African Player of the Year. Now, coming to this, you look at the likes of Retagui. Actually, Retegi was the one who could have taken that particular penalty, but his form compared to Odemena, who was coming from bench, Odemena was that confident that is required in the team, and he had just scored. You know, you need to give that kind of player who has carrying that particular content at that particular moment to take the penalty.
Yes.
So I think the coach at some point, the manager at some point, he missed out a point. And maybe he was being guided by the emotion as opposed to the standards of really, professional standards of really being a manager in that particular moment.
But
and remember,
he addressed the issue.
at that particular time,
The manager is the one who came out saying that, you know what, this guy should not have taken the penalty. They have very good two key penalty takers. One of them being Retegui, and the other one being Ketalera.
Yes. It definitely means that the coach was also surprised.
But why are you surprised? This is your star.
key player. You do not actually, at that particular time, you need in fact to rally behind them and blow their momentum so that they can really continue giving you results.
My issue with the coach is sometimes certain things happen, then you address those issues
Later on.
No, not
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Yes.
You know, so it's all about managing.
But sometimes I think
But again,
it's how
see, this is a player that they are flooding at the end of the season. Yes, he's a player they are flooding at the end of the season.
You know, whatever you were just saying, that's actually what informed me believe that the coach was actually talking out of emotions. Maybe at the background, which we don't know, he has tried maybe to woo the player to remain in the team, but the player is so adamant to leave. And as a coach, you need to understand that that is bound to happen. You need to be looking for a proper replacement. We have seen actually good player leaving good club at a very precarious point when the club really necessarily need them. Remember the likes of Varaskeria, who was actually riding at a very high at Napoli.
At Napoli.
He left at the middle of when Napoli still needed him.
And
Conte went ahead.
He was only
23
years of age.
Exactly.
Now, let's move ahead.
I don't like the way
Manchester City.
I don't like the way Syria is treating African players.
Yes, let's move to Manchester
that's my
City.
opinion.
And of course, Real Madrid. Real Madrid defeated Manchester City 3-1, which means that they could they progressed to the next round of the competition. That is the Champions League with a 6-3 aggregate at the Bernabeu. And we move away from that. We also had other big moments making headlines this week. PSV defeated Juventus, and they will now be facing Arsenal in the round of 16 of round of 16, of the Champions League. Aside from PSV, AC Milan were knocked out by Feyenoord from the Champions League. Very, very disappointing when you take a look at this. But aside from that, of course, we do have other moments that we'll be looking forward to. But today, the national women's football team, that is the Harambee Starlets, were in action against Tunisia in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, and they settled for a barren draw, which means now our girls will have to win away in Tunisia to qualify to the next round of the competition, and we are hoping that they will do that next week. Now, the biggest games of this weekend will see Bayern Munich at home taking on Eintracht Frankfurt. We'll be looking forward to see who wins this. Now, aside from this, Chelsea will be taking on Aston Villa, or rather Villa will be hosting Chelsea. Can we take a look at that, Dennis? Aston Villa will be hosting Chelsea. We'll be waiting to see who comes out on top of that after Aston Villa settled for a 2-2 draw against Liverpool on Wednesday. A very, very interesting fixture that we had. And of course, aside from that, we move on to the other big fixture of the weekend, which is Manchester City taking on Manchester City will be at the Etihad Stadium. They will be taking on Liverpool. But aside from Manchester City taking on Liverpool, there's also something big that is happening this weekend. And this is because one of our friends is not here. And the friend of ours that is not here is Roger Sishtemi. And Roger Sishtemi is not here basically because he's graduating tomorrow. Yes, he's graduating tomorrow from the Aga Khan University with a master's in digital journalism. So from the crew here at Football Sleep, congratulations to you, Roger Sishtemi,
big up,
on your graduation with masters in digital journalism. And we want to give you a clap, but Cedric said that we should not give you a clap, but he's offering you a job. Cedric, what did you say?
I will become our social media manager.
Okay,
Too much social media. But you are social media manager.
Maanisha Shetemi yule hapa hivi yako anafanya masters.
Kaka, wewe kama usomi, usifikirie watu wengi na wasomi. Roger Sishtemi. Yes. Wenzako wanasoma. Roger Sishtemi, of course, is graduating tomorrow from the Aga Khan University with a master's in digital communication. Cedric, what do you have to say to him?
Yeah, it has been a long journey. I've seen actually Rogers trying to
This is the man.
Yeah, this is the man.
Trying to gamble between the day. You understand whatever we go through here actually to put everything on and to ensure that our audience are really happy outside there. And he has been in the core, at the center of everything. So trying to gamble between those two kind of aspects has been so a tall order. But him taking all that ride to up to where he is now actually getting to the close end of it, it's a bigger part on his back. And I understand it's not over for him. He's a guy who actually is a go-getter.
Yeah,
and he will aim even still higher. We need to actually append that doctrine on top of this, so that he can be called also as a doctor.
So Cedric, should he come with his gown next week? Should he come with his gown?
We need actually to see him here, and we need to celebrate
He should not even come without
and also, on top of that, with the dynamics of social media, it adds so more value we need to see Rogers actually behaving differently. We don't want to see him behaving like Gen Zs. You know? They have invaded the social media platform. So as him being a manager for them, he does not really need to borrow heavily from them.
Young Gen Z.
Karaoke, your message to Rogers is
Definitely, congratulations. You know, masomo si rahisi. It is not easy when you are working and you're still balancing with classes. And now the fact that he's graduating tomorrow means that he has worked it out and managed to balance the two. Mimi ukinipea hiyo nita balance kweli kweli.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you, Kariuki.
Yes.
You've given a very good message to Ishtemi.
Yes.
But you couldn't say that to your sister who graduated with the first class. Hassan, what do you have to say?
No,
we are taking a break.
I'm happy for him because the times I call him, hey, bro, copy. Nakupigia kumela mdako class. So I'm happy for him.
Nijibu Robi. Nijibu Robi ama niachana eh?
Achana Robi. I'm Felix watching from Kitale. I expect Liverpool to carry the day. Hi, ni Henry Shingo from Bokoli. Show equal lit. Liverpool wafanye hiyo kitu. Good evening, the football slip team. My prediction is a draw because if you look at City, they have been blowing hot and cold. Depending on the team that is fielded, and on the other hand, fatigue has kicked in at Liverpool, and they have started to struggle. I am John. Janabia John Nani, but well, John is a fan of the football slip. Huyo kijana wa mtu wa City anafunga mawili Oman. 22151 is our SMS number. Bila malipo, talk to us. Bila shaka tutazungumza, tutapitia rafa zenu papa hapa mbashara. Tutapumua kidogo, tukirejea tuna mengi ambayo tutazungumza, maana kiangalia football slip hadi tujafika robo ya yale ambayo tunataka kuzungumzia.